Hello my creative friends, it's Serena here. Thanks for joining me today on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to have some art fun. And this is just the kind of a day after a heavy snow, that the landscape is in its finest. So let's take a look. I'll switch the camera around a bit so you can see the beauty of the landscape when the snow has just fallen and you've got that nice layer of snow on everything. So let's go in the studio and have some art fun. So you think winter is all white and gray and maybe some green, but there's color all around us if we just look and pay attention to the colors. Look at this tree. Look at the colors on the tree. You see, like in this morning light, which is casting a little bit of a pink tone to it, it's a little orangey even. In midday, it looks more tan. So even the colors that you think are here change depending on the lighting. Of course, we know that as artists, but sometimes it's very obvious and it has to actually smack us in the face for us to remember that that's true. And even on this particular tree, you can see spots where the leaves are very bleached out and almost pale tan, and other spots where the leaves are curled and you see a little bit of a deeper color or shadow that is a darker, almost like a peach brown. So that can add a lot of interest to a winter painting. You know, don't disregard these little subtle things that you might walk by and not even think to add to your paintings or your palette. And of course, you can have a winter sky. This is winter, you can see the snow, but look at the pinks in the sky. Who would think that pink is part of your winter palette? You really wouldn't. But if you paint that time, if you paint a landscape and you paint that time frame in the landscape that you're designing or drawing or painting, you can add that pink color into it. Even if it's just a little slight pink color, it can add a lot of interest to your painting. You can even see that winter skies can be a very, very deep blue. So the skies are not always gray overhead. You don't always have just the white of snow and gray skies for winter. Okay, so here we are in the studio, and I have a bow hung sketchbook that I got a while back. And this is a cold press one, but I wanted to show you what I'm going to do with the seasons. Never mind that. Here we go. Okay, so what I did was, if you remember, in the spring, I did a couple of these videos. In the spring, I chose a number of things that were around in nature around me here by the house. I picked leaves, I picked any kind of shoots or berries or sprouts, things that were coming out, and I looked at all the colors around me. The only thing I don't have in here is the sky, but we kind of can, you know, add that in from imagination or memory or from actually looking at it. But I thought I would capture all the different colors that I saw in spring around me, so that if I couldn't paint right then and there, if I couldn't capture that fleeting moment in spring, I wouldn't miss it, because as spring is, all the things are coming out in spring, it goes by so quickly. You might have buds that look like this one day, and the next day they start looking like this, and then they look like that. It happens so quickly, it's so easy to miss. This way, I have the colors down that I need to refer to, even if I want to do a painting of spring or the topic of spring in the middle of winter. So that's what I wanted to do with this. I happened to see a Melanie Chadwick's video, and that's what this is. She wrote some prompts on one of her videos for us to follow, and I thought it would be handy to just write those down. So I did that, and I added a few of my own. But I did that with spring, and then I did the colors of summer. And some of these are not just straight colors. There's so many colors in summer between the flowers and everything else blooming and in leaf, and it's just bursting with color. But there are a few of the things that I captured that I had to kind of put in one swatch. I don't know if any of you can recognize what this color combination came from, what flower, but it is a foxglove. It's a white foxglove, and it's got just that little bit of a kind of purplish color to it. Those splotches, they're not black, they're actually like a purplish color, and the flower itself, the petal, is like a cream color. It's not quite white, as you can see. It's different from the page there. And then it's got that light green kind of center or stamen in there in the center. This one also was one I wanted to remember from the colors of an impatiens flower. That's the color, that pink of the impatiens, but deep in the center of the flower there was that greenish color of the stamen. It was almost like a May green. It was very bright. So I have captured the colors of summer that are around me that I can remember. I captured the colors of spring, and I skipped a page. Nope, I have this one here. These, I didn't fill it out yet, but these were the colors of fall. I went around and I looked at all the different changing colors and tried to capture as best I could with my paints the colors of fall. Now, when you try to do something like this, depends on your palette, of course. You may not have colors that you can match exactly. Just get as close as you can if you want to do something like this. But now I have the colors of fall captured here, and I can refer to this anytime I want to, if I want to, draw a fall scene. Now here, I left this one blank because what comes after fall, of course, is the winter, and I do want to capture the colors of winter. It is a little bit cool in here, and I haven't set up the stove today, so I'm going to go ahead and cheat a little bit. Sorry about that. You won't see the actual process, but I'm going to go in the house where it's a little warmer and actually paint these, let them dry, and then I'll come back out and record for you so you can see the result of the colors that I found around me during my winter time. The whole point of this being that if you want to do something like this, capture colors that, oops, went too far, capture colors that you see around you during certain seasons, or even things that you come across. Let's say you're on vacation and you come across a building and the architecture has unusual colors. You can just swatch them real quick. It doesn't take long to swatch them, and you'll have that memory that you can refer to. Even if you do a sketch of the building, you can refer to the colors next to them, and when you have more time, you can paint that and complete it. But at least you capture the colors. So let me go ahead and capture the colors of winter, and I'll be right back. So I get out of my car after work the other night, and this is what I found. Too much snow, rain, sleet, rain, 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 rain. In all honesty, you're supposed to take down the plastic every winter, but we've left it up and been able to keep up with taking the snow off, and this year we just couldn't. So we're going to have to wait and see what spring shows us as far as what can be salvaged of our poor greenhouse. Oh boy, there goes our spring lettuce. Okay, so let's see how I did. Alright, nope, that's the wrong one. That's the one. Okay, so, I mean, you can guess these are kind of the colors of clouds in the sky. And you also know that sometimes during a sunset in the winter, the sky is very pale. It's obscured behind trees and things and fog and mist sometimes. So you don't have those bright, bright colors that you have in a summer sunset. But if I included that clip of the sunrise, you saw that there was some peachy purple in the sunrise. And don't forget the night sky. You know, that's part of winter too. If you do a night scene, you've got to have that color. This one didn't quite come out as dark as I wanted, but I kind of captured a little bit of it, and it reminds me. It's enough to trigger my memory and, you know, be able to be useful for me. These colors are more the colors of snow. And you know how sometimes they can be a little bluish, a little purplish, you know, a little icy there. You get those little colors in with the white. It's not always pure white. Then you've got a number of dried leaves and on the trees and bark. And if I included that clip, you saw kind of the ochre orangish color of that one tree that was still holding on to its leaves. And you've got other bark colors. Some of you may have some raspberry. They're like wild raspberry bushes, and they've got kind of a color like this. Not quite. It's a little more purplish, but I couldn't get it quite right. And then you do have some berries once in a while. You might have some berries that are growing. I know we get wintergreen, and the berries are a bright, bright red. I couldn't find any to show you because they're all under snow, but we do get those. So those are other colors that I wanted to remember. And then, of course, pine. You've got some very light, yellowed out pine needles. I don't know if they're quite, they need more fertilizer, or they're too acidic or not acidic enough, but they have that funny yellowish color to them, along with what we're used to as very deep, dark spruce pine needle type evergreens. And then also, not to be forgotten, various colors of growths on the bark, like lichens. You might go hiking sometime and see some really greenish lichens, some with a bluish tinge, and some that are just like a gray, almost the same color as the bark, but only lighter. But anyway, you get the idea that in these color swatches, I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 24 swatches, 24 different colors. And if you ask someone, what are the colors of winter? They would usually say, well, I see white snow, I see some green trees, I might see, you know, a gray sky or a blue sky. But most people would be hard-pressed to come up with 24 colors. But if you look around and you really are observant, you can come up with just about the same amount. I guarantee you. And the same with the other seasons. So don't discount going and looking around during the seasons while everything is in the height of its color, and capturing those so you have them to refer to later on. and it will make your paintings a lot more interesting. Even if you have a reference that's kind of dull, maybe it doesn't show that many colors, or it's just a cloudy day scene and you want to make it more dramatic by making it look like, you know, a sunset. Well, what does a winter sunset look like? You can't use the same colors you use in a summer sunset. It would look ridiculous. It just wouldn't look real. So you have to have these references to use. Well, we are still in winter. It won't give up. But we are in the ugly parts of winter where the snow is finally melting away and there's very little of it left. So hopefully spring is over. And I'm sorry, winter is over. I want spring. But we've got a few little daffodils starting to want to come out of the soil, even though there's snow all around. But let's check the major damage that winter has brought. And there it is. That's it. It breaks my heart to see that. It's a total loss. That, for those of you who can't quite recognize it, was our big greenhouse. That's all that's left of it. Now we have the job of pulling up all the metal and preparing the ground for a new greenhouse. I think we can salvage the front door. That's about it. Just the front door there. But we have our work cut out for us, that's for sure. And a big disappointment. But the winter's been very, very hard on us. A lot of people have had roof collapses in this area. Very, very bad situations. Barns collapsed on animals, on cows and such. So no one was hurt. No animals were hurt. I have that to be grateful for. Of course, we wouldn't have animals in the greenhouse, but many other people had it worse, so we have to be grateful that it didn't hit us harder. We did save our house. We had to shovel it off. We had to shovel the roof off, but we did save the house. So, yeah, sometimes in life you have trials, and you just have to get past them the best you can. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And I know I haven't been posting a lot lately. In fact, all winter I've been very bad. I haven't been even in the studio working like I should be. But spring is coming, the weather's getting warmer, and despite the greenhouse collapse, I hope I'm going to get motivated to get into the studio and finish building it and work on the greenhouse and keep you posted on everything going on. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time.